put up or shut up time for the Kansas City Chiefs. They got to get this done, and they got to get it figured out right now. Welcome back to RGR Football. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue, and I kind of like going rogue, to tell you the truth, because I have to give you the truth as I see it. There's a whole lot of misconception going on here around Chiefs Kingdom right now, whether it's the players, the fans, whatever's going on, but it all comes back down to this. You got to get wins when you're supposed to get wins. This game against the New York Giants is one where they have to get wins because they should. They are the better team. There is no question of that. It's not up for debate. It's not a maybe. It's, are you going to show up and be who you're supposed to be or not? It is, I think, I called it a turning point against the Washington football team. This might be an even bigger one. Maybe it's just that the NFC East is going to determine how the Chiefs season goes. There's been a lot of turmoil this week. I don't even want to address any of the craziness said on social media. And you guys know I use social media so that you get the messages about videos or concepts or whatever. It's a useful tool. It is not the end-all, be-all, or a way to communicate anything meaningful to people that have an emotional attachment to something. It just doesn't work very well. So we saw them get bogged down in something this week that, quite honestly, is the one week they needed to not be distracted with stuff like this. If you missed Dan's rant, he'll give you the not safe for work version on the member side. If you want to join the membership, it's going to be down on the bottom over there, and click the join button. You got to be a rookie or above to get the extra videos that are, quite frankly, blatant truth, as though you were sitting on the couch with us. And I'll probably have one of those after this video as well, or after this game, rather. We'll do the normal breakdown, post-game vid, as we always do, and we'll go from there on Monday night, and then we're going to jump right back into where we have to be. I'll try to do a Q&A this week as well. But when we look at what they have to get done, a lot of this is just living up to who you are and not shooting yourself in the foot. We all know about the turnovers. Yes, that is job number one. Don't turn the ball over on offense, and you should come out of this with a pretty convincing victory. Mess that up, and it all becomes a crapshoot again. And so that's really what it boils down to. And there's a couple of things that need to be done in order to ensure that, A, you're going about your business in a direct way. You're not playing too much option. You're not playing too much what happens if kind of thing. I think this is more, right now, a gut check feeling for not just the team, but for the coaching staff as well. You have to go in there and you have to demonstrate your superiority. And that comes down to a couple of things. One, I think the RPOs need to come out of this game plan. This game, I think, in particular, after all the nonsense that we've seen out of this team this year, shooting themselves in the foot, all that stuff, I think a lot of it is around the game plans not being enough, being too open, being too allowing for ad-lib, allowing for Patrick to just take it on his shoulders. I think they need to pull that out. Take some of that load off of Patrick Mahomes' shoulders. And they got to do that in two different ways. One is by taking the RPOs out of the game plan. Maybe if you want to have one or two for emergency's sake, fine. But you can't call them like that, Andy. Andy Reid has to be the grown-up here and take that out. You have to call more runs, period. If you're going to run the ball, run the ball. Don't leave it up as an RPO option for Patrick to override and then try to throw the ball. Because at the end of the day, Patrick is a Ferrari who wants to run. He's going to try to throw the ball. You have to call plays for the run so there is no ambiguity. There is no option. You got to run the ball more. We saw that last week. We've seen that on and off in his entire tenure, but this year in particular, we've seen that really be hit or miss with a couple of good games by Clyde, a fairly good game by Darrell, and then what, 5 touches for the running back last week? You have to call that. And I think the RPO is part of that problem, why we don't see more of those runs actually happen. And then in order to protect not just Patrick, but for the tackles as well. And now we know Mike Remmers has been banged up, had a bad week last week, been banged up this week. Orlando Brown had a bad week last week. You got to protect those guys a little bit. You got to help Orlando with some chips. I don't care who you do it. Send McKinnon over there if you want. I personally want to see Noah Gray get in the lineup, play significant snaps as an H backed off the line of scrimmage so that he can chip and then release. Because I think especially on a delayed release, Noah Gray can be a short area target, 10 yards and in, that can move the sticks, move the chains, and not allow Patrick to feel like he has to drift and press downfield. Just get a first down and start over. I think that's key. And I think the delay in particular is a thing that will help Noah Gray as well, because it allows him to see the coverage as it's deployed rather than trying to read where it's going to go. And so I think that's a good way to get him involved and allow him to help the quarterback out. And again, he doesn't have to be a great blocker. Just chip. Get a shoulder into the defensive end. Help out the tackles. That said, I think in my gut right now, I feel like it's going to be Niang because Remmers has been beat up and because they have some speed rushers in Azeez Ojulari as well as Lorenzo Carter. I think you got to guard against speed with Mike Remmers. For Orlando Brown as well, but you're not going to pull Orlando Brown out there. So I think Niang needs to be back in there. I think he will be back in there. I think his kick is superior to both those other players. So that should negate some of that. But all that said, you have to, again, be the leader from the play call standpoint and call route combinations with levels and that can hit that fifth step, plant his foot, and get it going. That's it. Protect Patrick from, again, having to feel like he has to ad-lib and make things up on the fly. If you hit that and you call leveled route combinations that actually attack a cover 2 or a cover 4 or a cover 3 in their weaknesses, then you can get things done. And that's really what I think this all boils down to. It's been, I think, an ongoing thing that they want to play their brand of football, their brand of offense in particular, and not necessarily game plan to take advantage of the weakness of a given team. Maybe that's because it's shorter area of the field, not the deep that they want to show off with. And I don't blame them. When you have runners like McCole Hardman and Tyreek Hill, you want to show off what you can do. It keeps that aspect of it fresh and scary and gives you, I think, a morale and a mental advantage. But at the end of the day, every game plan for every team in the NFL has to take advantage of what the other team's weakness is, first and foremost. And that means you got to attack the linebacker level here in New York, and you got to go after the secondary in spurts. I think play action is the best way to do that, especially if you begin running on the ground. Now, the front is in pretty good shape. Obviously, we talked about the edge rushers. You also have some tackles that can do some damage too, so it's not going to be like busting off huge runs, but that's going to pull the defense down. I think that's when you can call the deeper play actions and give Patrick some shots that aren't up to him calling it at the line of scrimmage. Simplify the thing for the quarterback and let him execute. And when it comes to executing, Patrick's got to take this on his back. He's got to take responsibility for the decision-making that he's doing, and just take a sack if you have to. Don't throw the ball up for grabs anymore. You've pushed it beyond the envelope of what's being done successfully. And success is the bottom line. Yes, you're still going to make some of those great plays with, especially Kelsey, because they're so intuitive with each other. But you're putting risk out there for no good reason. If you are in the grasp and you don't have a target, take the sack or throw it out of bounds. Do not try to complete it. I'd rather take a grounding penalty than you throw up another interception. So it's got to be about control. It's got to be about maturity from the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback. And that said, on the defensive side of the ball, you got to let the boys be who they are. You have to let Nick Bolton man the middle and not ask him to get to the sidelines. If you're going to be in the base, then they're not supposed to have Saquon Barkley, so I don't know that they're going to be in the base that much. But if you're in the base, you got to leave Nick in the middle. You got to let him do what he does. We've seen how good he can be at that. Last week is proof of it. If you don't ask him to get sideline to sideline, he's going to be a very good player for you in the middle. That said, when you have to get into the nickel, I think you got to get a little more creative about it. And this quarterback in particular is susceptible to the blitz. Now, I would like to see, going on this probably fourth week in a row I've said this, I want to see the linebackers blitz more. Start out in the 2 linebacker nickel and send someone. Whether it's Nick, I personally would use Willie myself because Daniel Jones does not react well to the blitz. He's like Alec Baldwin in Hunt for Red October. He does not react well to those bullets. At the end of the day, that's how you get pressure. That's what Spags wants to do anyway. But leave your coverage intact so that they can adapt as well. And the bottom line for the defense is they have to come up with some turnovers too. They have to produce. Mathieu, for all the drama this week, was very clear and honest in one thing. in saying that he has not been performing the way that he wants to and the way he expects to, and quite frankly, the way we all expect him to. So it's got to come down to the matchup of Daniel Jones versus Tyrann Mathieu, and he's got to win that matchup. Can somebody else take up the slack? I hope so. But at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. So those are my keys. That's what to watch for here. We're going to do the normal breakdown post-game, get into the normal week. I'll try to do a Q&A probably. Tough to stream on Tuesday night, but we'll see what we can get. And Dan will have some as well. We appreciate all your support. Like, sub, hit the bell if you're new. Tell your friends. You know, I know it's a tough season to grow and add people to the channel, but we're looking to do that. And if you want to get into the inside story and get in the memberships, go ahead and click join. I think you'll enjoy that. I'm ready for a win. I know you're ready for a win. Let's hope that they get one. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll check you next time. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.